everybody. Welcome to Horror Movie Yearbook. We're back.
We are back.
We took a week off. We had
We did. We had illness.
we had some illness. We've leveled with the people. We've got two youngsters at home. We know these kids are bringing home every disease under the sun.
Yes. My greatest fear in life now is the email from the principal of the school saying there's a confirmed case of blank in your child's classroom.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So we will get into it, but we apologize for the delay. I sat around and recorded an episode myself that is out there. It was just like a recap. I wanted to talk about Chucky a little bit because that got canceled. Then I also wanted to talk about some of the
Chucky's officially done.
Chucky is officially done. I think I don't want to say it's deserved, but like I kind of think I would have liked maybe one more season.
It ran its course probably, but
I would have liked to have them maybe get one more season.
Okay.
But they're not gonna. But you can listen to me. I break down like how much the viewership had fallen and how you can't verify if they picked it up anymore on Peacock because like if the viewership like increased on Peacock because they don't measure.
So weird.
Then I give my thoughts on where they go from where I want them to go from here, where I want the franchise to go from here, which I want them to take a break. So a little bit of a break. But I also talked about some cool movies coming out of Fantastic Fest. One of them is out this weekend, Terrifier 3. So very cool. So check that out wherever you get your podcast, Horror Movie Yearbook. I like how I said that to people who are listening to this. All right. So do we want to kick this off with we're doing our favorite 10 favorite horror movies.
Our personal top 10s.
Yes. We should always preface that these are our favorite movies and not what we think are the best.
Right.
Because there are a couple missing.
They're the best in our hearts.
There are a couple missing from my list that I think should be on a best
Might be better films.
Yeah.
But they're not your favorites.
They're not my favorites.
Sure.
So do you want to get started with our listeners first?
Some listener lists. Yes, let's do it.
I'll kick us off here.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to travel back. Tom sent us an email, and I'm going to travel back to our 1970s and 80s real quick.
Oh, my.
And we're going to knock these out as quick as I can, okay?
Sure.
So we can get into the 90s list. But thank you, Tom. We told him he could send these in. And I don't think we did this last time. So,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we did Tom's top 10s. So let's see. What date was this sent
If we
in?
did, this is really embarrassing.
You know what? Should I double check? I don't think we did.
You're fine.
He sent it to the 20th. Tell the good people where they can send in their lists. If
of
they would
course,
like.
yeah. So we
stall for me.
You can definitely send us lists that we've already kind of covered, like decades we've covered before. Not a problem. It's never too late. Or if you want to kind of proactively send us lists, because I think we're going to be continuing this at least for one more. I would say. If not two more.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering on the two.
But I'm not. I would say one more is pretty solid. Two more is questionable. And the only reason I say that is because I feel like I've got some gaps in my viewership with the aughts, as it were. But that doesn't mean I don't have a top 10. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Regardless, send those lists to us. horrormovieyearbook@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. Twitter @HMYearbook. Those all work. So
all right, so I verified.
Yes,
we did Tom's other email, which was where he did a movie catch up of like movies he's been watching this year.
Yes, I remember that.
This I was confused by because it was sent in the same day our podcast was published, but we record a day before the podcast.
True.
So okay, we're good. All right, so his favorites of the 1970s, number 9, because he says that's it. I've only seen 9 of these. He has a lot of homework to do. Hey, there's no more fun homework than watching horror movies.
Yeah, Tom, go nuts, have fun.
Number 9, The Exorcist. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it.
Love it.
Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Number 8, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There is so much screaming in this movie that it's hard to handle. Mm-hmm. Truly terrifying. I wonder if Tom has seen part 2 because there's
Tom,
even more screaming in part 2.
Tom, yeah. Watch 2 if you haven't. The screaming is like a new level of It's insane. Yeah,
it's the screamiest movie I can think of outside of the Goonies, maybe.
Yes, Caroline Williams has like a great scream.
Yes.
But it's a big one. Yeah.
Number 7, The Devil's Rain. I watched this one because of your episode. It was terrible YouTube quality, but it was freaky as heck.
This is the Borgnine Shatner joint.
Yes. I would imagine even terrible YouTube quality probably made it freakier.
Yes. Agreed.
I recall Melting Faces. Yeah, I believe there were some on that.
That's about it. Some road tripping, too.
Number 6, Don't Look Now. I definitely count this as a horror movie. It's eerie, contemplative, and has one of the best scares of the 1970s.
It's a horror film, no question. Yep.
Number 5, Eraserhead, David Lynch. A Star is Born. Definitely do not show this to aspiring parents. That was one of those movies I watched when I was younger. And so, it was way before.
Full disclosure, I've never seen Eraserhead.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
I don't know if I would.
Sin, right?
I'll be honest. That's one of those movies where if I watched it now, I'm not sure how I would feel about it. And there's a movie on my top 10 list of the 90s that I was going back and forth on, how I felt as an adult. I'll get to it later. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious.
Number 4, Halloween. It's Halloween. What do you want from me?
I mean,
there's just this.
Great.
Number 3, Jaws. This one never gets old. I saw it in IMAX a couple summers ago, and boy, howdy, it's a great picture.
It is.
I do like using the word picture.
I love it.
Yeah. Number 2, Dawn of the Dead. I saw this one in theaters in 3D not too long ago. First, I saw it as a use on the Encore channel, one of the great channels, but I never appreciated the humor, craftsmanship, and raw entertainment that this movie brings.
Excellent.
Have you seen it in 3D?
I have not. That was a very limited engagement, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I've seen it on the big screen, though.
Okay.
Which was awesome. That crowd was so good, too.
Yeah.
See, I've been to a lot of retro screenings where the crowd, and I get it. I understand what those can be. They can get a little Rocky Horror for me, even when they're not. But I remember going to a screening of Halloween, and there being a weird amount of laughing at certain things, and I was like, I don't like this.
Right.
It's a weird screening. But with Dawn, everybody knew they understood the assignment, and it was a great screening. Yeah. I'm doing Lost Boys, by the way.
All right, when is that?
On the 16th.
So this coming
Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be another of my top 10 knocked off the list on the big screen. I've only got 4 left after that. No, I've only got 3 left, I think.
Do you remember the 3?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So I've seen Halloween, Dawn. Let's finish the list and then I'll go through them. Let me think about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, we got to get to his number 1.
Yes.
Alien. I love the Alien franchise, the good and the bad. This is an Encore classic. My favorite channel growing up that scared the crap out of me as a kid. I rewatch it every now and have nothing to say that hasn't already been said. A+. That is a tough thing with a lot of these movies.
What do you say?
Our number 1 movie, we have recorded so many episodes on. Spoiler, yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say?
I like how you knew right away what that we shared.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, it's funny. Did you know, though?
Yeah.
You kind of knew, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Do you want me to do his 80s list?
No, it's I've seen Dawn, I've seen The Thing, I've seen Halloween, I've seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I've seen Ninja Turtles, I've seen Aliens, and I have 4 more to see currently. Lost Boys will be knocked off the list, and then I need to see Heat, Day of the Dead.
Ooh.
I know, right? These are not
These
easy.
are going to be tough ones.
And Blade Runner, weirdly enough.
Heat,
I've never seen Blade Runner, despite all the...
Blade Runner, I think you can get in. They show Blade Runner every once in a while at MGR. I think that he's making a sequel, right?
But it's so long. I don't think theaters want to play it.
You might be able, but I think it's more
Day
likely
is going
to be really hard unless there's some sort of anniversary screening in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Here's Tom's 80s list if you're ready.
All right.
Number 10, Chud, a demonstration of a low budget with the right ingredients can make a fun and cheesy time at the movies. Got to give this one a shout out.
The score for Chud is so good.
Do you have the score?
No, but it's great.
Yeah, I thought for some reason I thought you had the vinyl because they did Waxwork did a vinyl for Chud.
Yes.
I think. Yeah,
I do not have it, but it's fantastic. Yes.
Number 9, The Keep. That's a good call.
Cool.
Creepy and strange, but most importantly, killing Nazis. Number 8, Near Dark. Catherine Bigelow can do no wrong. I believe we covered that she can do no wrong in our eyes.
True.
Yeah. You're a K-19 The Widowmaker fan.
Yeah,
me too.
I like it.
It's
as far as submarine movies go,
it's a solid.
Good.
Yeah. Number 7, Gremlins. Gizmo and Company versus Gremlins. Election season. Am I right? Hey, don't get political here, Tom. You're in a swing state, if I recall correctly. Number 6, A Nightmare on Elm Street. The only Frederick movie I've seen. unless that one Rick and Morty episodes counts, bitch.
Frederick movie. That's great.
Great filmmaking and atmosphere. I can feel the paranoia and discomfort coming through the screen. Number 5, American Werewolf in London. It's like Danny Boyle's The Beach, but better, where a Yankee fucks everything up for everyone. Something American imperialism.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much right on. It's like a young American too. Yeah. You see where Hostel got influence there too a little bit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Number 4, Christine. I love the car effects. It shows us the deadly outcome of being glued to your favorite machine. A cautionary tale. I believe that was like one of the reasons King wrote it, wasn't he? Yeah. Number 3, The Fly, an excellent science fiction gone wrong film, teaches us the important lesson that getting fit is all you need to seduce Gina Davis.
Hey, yeah. Rennie Harlan did it.
Rennie, is he a fit gentleman? I believe he is, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. Director of one of those Frederick movies.
Yeah, 5?
4.
4. Yep. Number 2, Videodrome, back-to-back Cronenberg.
Nice.
Is it bad that I like James Woods? He's so good at being a scumbag. We don't judge.
No. If you like him as an actor, that's fine.
Yeah.
As a person,
do you like him personally?
Yeah, like as a person, I don't know. Like
I don't know. We're gonna have to
check his Twitter first.
Number 1, The Thing. It's The Thing. What do you want from me?
Exactly.
He also gave shout-outs to Scanners, Day of the Dead, The Shining, and the Evil Dead movies.
Big Cronenberg fan.
Yes. He says the ranking for the 80s really don't matter after The Thing. I just want to be a good sport. My mindset was, what would I watch right now or show to a friend? Keep up the great work. You keep up the great work, Tom.
That's killer. Tom, yeah, I rank my favorite stuff based on that. Like, typically it's like if somebody was like, hey, let's watch this movie right now, and I said yes, it's probably somewhere in my top. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. All right, Joe, we're moving on to the 90s now.
Joe,
you're trying to get me in trouble here on one of these, but I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
Gents, here is my favorite 10 horror flicks of the 90s. As always, looking forward to the episode. I'll even number this time to make it easier on you guys. Thank you, Joe. It's October. It's cooling down. Horror movies on the TV every night amongst the Halloween decorations. Life is good. Take care. Absolutely. Number 10, Tales from the Hood. Yes. The shit, he says. Number 9, Urban Legend. Now we're talking. Now we're getting to the goods. Number 8, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Not reading this next part, Joe. You know it. Number 7, H2O. Josh Hartnett. Am I right? He says.
Josh Hartnett. Okay.
That is some good quality Josh Hartnett hair, though.
Oh my God! H2O. Yeah. His hair was always on point for sure.
Yeah. Yep. Is that the worst hair? No. We've all landed on Courtney Cox in Scream 3 as the worst hair on horror movie.
It's bad. It's really bad.
Although I did text you, the woman in Friday the 13th Part 7, the mom, Tina's mom, her hair is like one of those like lion's mane mullets.
It's like gravity defying.
It's got like a helmet too. It's crazy.
It's impressive.
Number 6, The People Under the Stairs. That is a good one. The 90s are so weird.
They are strange.
Yeah.
There's no identity to it almost. Yeah.
Post Scream there is, but there is, leading up to Scream, it's
the first half of the 90s. Weird.
It's the Wild West out there. Yeah. There's so much bad. Number 5, Scream 2. He does have it. Okay. Number 4, The Faculty. I do love The Faculty. Number 3, Scream. Number 2, It. I believe the miniseries is was that 90? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then number 1, he's got The Ring, and I don't mean to correct him here, but
The Ring is not from the 90s.
I think if he's talking the American Ring and not Ringu, maybe
is Ringu the 90s? Yes.
Yes, I believe the Japanese version of The Ring. So maybe it is. Maybe it is the Japanese version of The Ring. So there you go.
Where did Joe send this in? What was his? Was it email? No.
Email. Yes, he emailed us. He also gives honorable mentions to Dr. Giggles, Arachnophobia,
oh my God,
The Blair Witch Project, and Silence of the Land. Silence of the Land. Silence is more of a mind F. I can say fuck movie to me as opposed to a classic horror movie, but to each their own. Yeah, I don't know. It depends. I always classify Silence of the Lambs as a horror movie, but this is one of those things, much like Terminator or Alien, where I kind of leave it up to everybody's own discretion.
Yeah. So. Like there are certain movies that kind of like skirt the line between genres, and that's okay. Like it's like the age-old debate about the Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, is it a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? It's both.
It's whatever you want it to be. Yeah. At that time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, you have some Discord.
I've got Discord and Twitter.
Okay, you've got the Twitter too.
I got stuff. I'll do Twitter
too.
Because John Street sent us one on Twitter.
Yes.
So I want to make sure we cover that.
Yep.
So, yeah, the first 9 are not in any order, he said, but he saved the number 1 for last. So we'll just go right through it.
Okay.
The Craft.
I love The Craft.
Deep Rising. Underrated movie.
Yeah.
Not available. Like, last time I checked for this, I want to watch Deep Rising. It's not on, like, any streaming platforms. It might be now, but this is, like, 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm just sad about it.
Yeah.
Tremors.
Good
creature movie.
Talking about
creature
that later.
movie,
yeah.
Deep Blue Sea. Another good creature movie.
Yeah. He's got some... What is that? Is that 3 creature features in a row?
Deep Rising, Tremors, Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
Blade, of course. Lake Placid. Another good creature movie.
We got a
theme. The 90s were rolling through some creature movies.
Yes.
It's kind of like adjacent to the disaster movie almost, right?
Well, but those were big, like, period in the 90s because I think it was Independence Day the first, like, big one that kicked off that boom, and then you got, like, Armageddon, Deep Impact, Dante's
The
Peak,
lower budget ones started
Volcano,
to come out.
and then
horror oriented.
Yep. So I think like the creature features, the disaster movies are kind of big.
Yeah.
You know what? What am I thinking? Jurassic Park probably kicked that off too.
Oh,
yeah.
Good call.
And Jurassic Park is borderline for me. I always think I kind of think adventure science fiction with Jurassic Park.
That one I do not count as a horror film.
No.
If they had like adapted the book specifically, I'd be like, it's kind of a horror. But like, I'm okay with what it is.
If you want to make an argument for 3, I might hear it because it's kind of a monster movie.
That one's a little bit, that one's actually closer to what I would say is like, that's probably the closest. Although that weird one in the mansion with the...
that's the one. Is that Fallen Kingdom? I like that one.
That one's kind of like a horror movie,
Yeah,
too.
that might be my second favorite Jurassic Park
pretty
movie.
sweet.
Yeah, that or 3.
Yeah, I haven't seen that last one. But,
I've
heard
it's not going to be one of your favorites.
There's locusts and stuff.
A lot of like locusts, yeah. It's like a main plot.
Interesting. Army of Darkness.
Very nice. Very nice.
The Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
Ravenous.
We're still waiting to do our Ravenous episode for a special guest.
Yes.
Yep.
One day.
We won't do it without him either.
Ravenous rules.
Yeah.
Though. And finally, my number 1, Scream. Excellent list, John Street.
Thank you, John,
for sending that in. Over on the Discord, which you can join.
Patreon.com/MidwestPodNet.
Absolutely. We have Bruce K., friend of the show, sending in his top 10 in order. I'm going to go ahead and knock 10 to 1. We're going to go down this. And then we'll do some quick runner-ups. Number 10, The Sixth Sense. Number 9, Sleepy Hollow. Number 8, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Nice to see that on the list. So, like, that's the first time that's popped up. Yeah, I like that. That's a movie that I think got a lot of hate for a while.
So that came out.
Reasons,
yeah, when it came out too, like I think there was some backlash too because that was Keanu and Winona, right?
Yes,
I think there was a little bit of backlash around the time of its release, if I recall correctly, and
Keanu's not great.
Keanu's not good in it.
Yeah, and it's kind of a key role, but man, Anthony Hopkins brings it in that movie. Yeah, and Gary Oldman's insane.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
I do too. I think it's aged well.
Yeah. Number 7, The Exorcist 3.
That's a solid pick. I like The Exorcist 3 a lot.
Definitely. Number 6, The Silence of the Lambs.
Okay, that's a second
Maybe
one.
The first real instance of true what people consider elevated horror, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well,
based on the criteria of what we think about now.
I guess if you like,
Jaws would be one too.
Psycho is another one I'm thinking of, but even Psycho, I think there was a critical certain critics think of it as lesser Hitchcock, kind of Hitchcock slumming it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's grown in estimation because of its place in history.
Yeah.
But I would throw Psycho in there as well.
Sense,
but I would say
Lambs is an early.
Lambs is like like straight horror. Yeah.
The Oscar noms and all that stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, Jacob's Ladder.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 4, Dust Devil, the final cut. I have not seen Dust Devil.
Okay.
This is a Richard.
Is this Richard Frank
no,
Grant?
I'm
no.
messing it up. The gentleman who directed Richard. Gosh darn it! Why am I? We're both blanking. He directed or attempted to direct the Marlon Brando, Island of Dr. Moreau.
Richard Stanley.
No, Richard Stanley.
Yes.
Sorry,
we went through all of the Richards we could think of before that. Yes.
So many Richards. Little Richard. But yeah, this is one of his early films.
Okay.
I believe it's his second film after Hardware.
Oh, yeah.
Or was Hardware after Dust?
I think Dust Devil, is 92. Hardware, I think, is 90?
Yes.
Okay.
I have not seen Dust Devil.
Okay. I have seen Hardware.
But Bruce, I'm going to check it out because I've been interested in his stuff for a while now.
Yeah.
And now I know I love a good final cut. So I like a good alternate cut.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch them both.
Was that re-released recently or
it
no?
Must have
or did
been.
it get re?
Assume.
Okay.
Bruce, hit us up on the Discord and let us know what's going on with that. I'm curious. I want to know more.
Would you like to know more?
I would. Number 3, Blair Witch Project. Number 2, In the Mouth of Madness. Love it. And number 1, Candyman.
That's a nice list. That's a nice list.
Mostly off the cuff. Okay, some runners up. We got Blade, H2O, Scream, Scream 2, New Nightmare, and Vampires. Lots of Craven on the runners up list.
Yep.
And a little Carpenter.
Mm-hmm. Vampires with $, baby.
Hey, speaking of James Woods. All right.
Wait, did the film have the $? I can't remember now because the
think so.
book did, right?
No, the book did.
Did. I think the movie
did not.
Yep.
Yes. I never. Have you read the book?
I have not read the book.
Not me either. I probably won't, but that's fine. Dave Steele. No particular order. He said, I'm probably late. It turns out you're not.
Yeah.
Because we did not record last week. So this worked out great for you, Dave Steele.
We did it just for you, Dave.
We did it just for you. Yeah.
We're like, hey, where's Dave's list?
Josie got sick just for you.
Hey, cancel the recording.
Indeed. We got Misery.
Nice.
Scream.
Nice.
From Dusk Till Dawn. Candyman. Dead Alive. Audition. I forgot Audition.
So Audition's tough though too, because it
came out in the U.S. in 2000.
I think it was like 2000. Yeah. So I was
tricky one.
Spoiler alert for my list. I'm still deciding whether or not it's made it.
That's
I've got it down to like 2 or 3, and I'm just gonna pick it on the spot.
Exorcist 3, Child's Play 2. Hell yes, Dave Steele.
Child's Play 2.
I think Child's Play 2 is better than Child's Play 1. I stand my ground on that.
Which one's 2?
It's the one with the crazy finale in the Toy Factory.
The Toy Factory, yeah.
It rules.
Yep.
I like 1. 2 is like my shit.
Yeah.
It's so mean. Too.
Is 2 the mean one, or okay? So 3's not the mean one.
2 is the Military Academy one. It's kind of goofy. 3 is.
3 is, yeah.
It's
kind
of goofy.
Yeah, 3 feels the most like made for TV. If
yes.
I recall correctly.
Yes. Yeah. 2 is mean. Like it's so mean spirited. I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Silence of the Lambs.
Nice.
Tales from the Hood. Honorable mentions, Death Becomes Her. Nice pick. I like that.
That has seen a recent reappraisal. Like I've seen a lot of people talk about how much. I need to go back and rewatch that because I don't remember.
Factory released a
yes.
Yeah.
I want to go back and watch it.
I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah.
I think it's good though.
I'm sure it is. Who directed that? Was that Zemeckis?
Man.
It's Zemeckis, right?
I think it was Zemeckis. Yeah.
Bruce Willis is in it, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
He's like a goofball idiot.
I love that. Bruce is.
He's great at that.
Yeah. Bruce is like when Bruce was on. Like Bruce was.
Oh yeah.
The best.
Oh yeah.
So not that I'm not speaking of him past, but he's retired now from acting.
Yes.
So I feel like I can. Yeah.
Yep. Honorable mentions. Yeah. So Death Becomes Her. Night 1 of the It miniseries. Fair enough. Very smart there. And The Sixth Sense.
It's funny to me. So I think the new It Part 2 is pretty good, actually, considering like I don't think people like I kind of think people have a higher opinion of maybe the second part in the original and the book than I do because like I don't know. I think the new version does just fine with the material in the second half of that because it's not as strong as the first half.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah. It doesn't elevate that back half.
No, it's fine. It does fine, and I'm with you.
I didn't hate Part 2.
No, me neither. But like I'm with you. I'm with Dave as well.
Part 1's where it's at.
Part 1's where it's at, even in the old miniseries as well.
Oh yeah, so good. Yeah. It's really good still. I think.
Yeah.
All right. Jason Kimmel. Number 10, The Mummy.
Oh, the Brendan Fraser one. Yeah.
Great movie.
I
don't count as a horror film.
In my head,
that's why I didn't leave it on.
Yeah.
But it can be.
Yes.
Number 9, Dead Alive. Number 8, Deep Blue Sea. Love the love for Deep Blue Sea. Deepest Bluest. My hat is like a shark's
I listened
fin.
to that album on bus rides to basketball games with my fellow benchmate, one Mr. Brian Bruck. We would do the thing where we put one earphone. We had the split earphones.
That's beautiful.
And put one in. We'd listen to Deep Blue Sea.
You guys ruled. Did you wear hats?
I wish.
Oh.
I wish. We'd go like this, the old Shark Boy.
Hell yeah. Number 7, Gremlins 2. Hell yeah. Number 6, Misery. Number 5, Silence of the Lambs. Number 4, Blair Witch Project. Lots of love for that.
Yeah,
movie.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I don't have it on mine.
Okay.
But I do think Well, I won't say it now in case you have it on yours, but it's nice to see it on some lists. It's an important movie, and I think it's
Number 3, In the Mouth of Madness. Number 2, Scream. Number 1, Sixth Sense.
Nice.
Thank you, Jason, for the list. And our final list off of our Discord.
Oh, that's right. We have one more.
Yes.
I believe it's first one so far.
Yes, I'm excited. Nick, fellow Midwest Podcast Network host, Nick has sent in his list. There's no numbering on this. I'm pretty sure the top one is his number 1.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I'm going to go bottom to top just to be safe. I don't want to do this list any disservice. We got Deep Blue Sea. I know Nick and his brother have a pact that anytime Deep Blue Sea is on television, they stop everything they're doing and watching it. I don't know if that still happens because Nick has kids now, but I like to think that Tony continues this tradition.
There's this. Well, I can't remember who the actress was, but now that I think about it, there's this old Bill Murray bit where like every time there was a nude actress and the nude scene was on.
Yeah, Kelly from Roadhouse.
Yeah. He would call her husband. He'd call her husband and say, "Hey, I'm watching."
Switch to TBS. She's on.
Maybe it's not as funny as I thought. Maybe it used to be to me, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've heard some things about old Murray. Yeah. It's such a bummer. Not shocking, but also kind of a bummer. Misery, Scream, Virus,
the Jamie Lee Curtis Virus.
Yes, Nick. Virus kind of rules in its own special way.
That feels like a Nick movie. Virus is like right up way. Nick's alley. Yeah.
Event Horizon.
Absolutely, that's another one that feels like a Nick.
Absolutely.
Event Horizon and Virus.
Yeah, Event Horizon just good.
Yeah,
that's the difference. The Faculty, Blade, Silence of the Lambs, The Sixth Sense, and Ravenous.
I think Ravenous is number 1.
Introduced me to Ravenous, and it is a delight.
All right. Are you ready to get into ours? Thank you, everybody, by the way. We love that's like one of my favorite parts of the episode. Well, obviously, but I love doing that.
I have more fun reading listener lists than I do reading off my own.
Yeah.
And it's because like I'm like cool, like I don't know. There's something so like rewarding about having somebody like spend time on thinking about something like this.
Yes.
Because you inspired them to, which I'm not trying to like be like, wow, look at us. But like it feels good.
No, I love
nice to have engaged listeners.
Yes.
So thank you guys. Seriously, it was awesome. Well, all right, Tim.
I'm going to start. As you drink a banquet, you polish off a banquet. I got this Screamin' Pumpkin.
Well, you always get adventurous. I'm so boring now. I have my 2 tall boys, which is probably more than I should have while I'm recording, but I do it anyway.
That's right. By the time we get to the end of this episode,
we'll be a mess anyway.
We're recording the Tiny Terror after, just so everybody else. So make sure to watch out for that one.
I've got an idea for the Tiny Terror, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 10 right now, I've narrowed it down to 3 movies. And I might need your help with this. No, I've got
Oh, no, man.
I've got it down. Audition, Blade, and The Faculty.
Oh my God! So you're 10
at my number 10, and I'm trying to I've gone back and forth on this. This is the one I've had the most problem with. Is like which one do I want to put it on the list?
Audition, Blade, or The Faculty? I will tell you what the answer is.
Okay,
it's The Faculty.
I think so too because here's the thing. I'm doing the do I want to watch this right now test in my head, and I'm like, am I in the mood to watch Audition? Is a fantastic movie.
Amazing, probably the best film of the 3.
Yes, right? I would say so. But like, am I going to throw it like that? Am I going to throw the bad boy on that TV now? No. I don't think so.
Right. But it also doesn't. One edge that The Faculty has over both is the Faculty feels inherently 90s.
Yes, so the other thing with Blade is I'm a Blade 2 guy.
Me too. And Blade is definitely I would count it as a horror film. But The Faculty is a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Blade could be considered an action film, a superhero film. It can kind of slide into other. So when it comes time to make a cut or to make a tier of things, Blade gets bumped down a little bit just because it can it's nebulous in terms of what it could be. In my opinion.
I love old science fiction movies, and I'm going to say something. I'm trying to think of all of that late 90s, all those casts, those ensemble, WB, at the time, young ones. Well, people won't even know what the CW is anymore. It's completely different now than what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah, it's not the CW, but the WB was the teen WB and UPN,
the hot young network.
But I always remember being WB, like that's where all the teen dramas lived.
Yep.
They don't have a teen. That's one thing that's being lost to streaming. I'm worried about. Not enough teen dramas out there. Like
it's kind of gone away a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this.
What are the teens watching now?
What are the teens watching now? I don't know. Euphoria. I think they're just watching Euphoria.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Anyway,
why not?
But Euphoria, like it's been like 5 years since they filmed the last season. They're like
every show.
I'm trying to think of a better cast in my head than The Faculty. It's
so good.
It's the kids and the adults. It has Jon Stewart in it, and
he's amazing.
He gets a pencil to the eyeball.
He's
right?
Amazing in it.
It's got Robert Patrick, Usher. It's the only movie with Robert Patrick and Usher, right? Robert Patrick's not in the
Elijah
mix.
Wood.
Oh my gosh!
What a cast.
Clea Duvall.
Yep, I love Clea Duvall.
Me too. Jordana Brewster. We're just gonna name off the cast of The Faculty too.
Who else is in there? From Seinfeld. Not Seinfeld. From Frasier.
Lilith. Yeah.
What's the actress's name? Do you know?
No.
God damn it! I'm missing it.
I forgot the character's name.
I can't remember. But so, The Faculty rules. It should be your number 10.
That's my number 10. It's fantastic. You help me make the choice.
Yes.
All right. What's your number 10?
My number 10, and I have a story for you here. I'm going to try to tell it quickly. It's an involved story. This movie came on, and funny enough, one of the featured members of this story is down here with us as we speak. This movie came on cable one night. My brother was already in bed. My brother's 4 years younger than me. This movie came on. My parents forbid me from watching this film. They were like, no, you can't stay up and watch this movie. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I was saying, guys, it wasn't like we were up too late. It was like they were concerned about the content of the movie. And I said, guys, it's a vampire movie. It's a vampire movie. There's vampires in this movie. It's a monster movie. I'm telling you, I've seen way worse. And they said, no, go to bed. And I remember I went to bed. And I'm laying in bed, and I was like, I knew they were still watching it because I could kind of hear the movie from my bedroom. And I remember laying in bed and hearing, holy, expletive. And then some footsteps came towards my bedroom, and the door opened, and they went, Willie, we're sorry. It's a vampire movie. And if you don't know what I'm talking about at this point, it is 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn, which does not start off like a vampire movie. It starts off like a Tarantino violent crime thriller, and then turns into
and then Selma Hayek shows up.
And oh boy. Oh, does she ever?
Yes, she does.
Has any actress ever been sexier than Selma Hayek in that scene From Dusk Till Dawn? It's tough to call. But she's got to be like the epitome of...
There are two... This might be... Okay, so I'm going to preface this with my list as well.
I'm not trying to be weird, but like...
As I transport myself back to my age,
yes.
like, you got to... Everybody cut me some slack here with some of these movies. Like, I was a young
sure.
lad watching these, like, hormones raging.
Yep.
So there are, like, a couple movies on my list where there's some bombshells, and Selma Hayek is one of them.
Indeed.
There's another one out there, too. So.
But yes, so... Luckily, I was able to rent From Dusk Till Dawn afterwards.
I like how I called them bombshells, like I'm a 1950s like pinup girl.
I mean, hey,
sorry.
I liked it.
So
yes, From Dusk Till Dawn is my number 10.
Number 10?
So, yes.
All right. So we're moving on to number 9. My number 9 is one that was on a couple lists, I believe. It is Event Horizon. So
yes.
I saw this in the theater. This is one of like an early theater experience for me. It's the first movie that I think I remember like really fucking me up, like really scaring me.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the when Sam Neill starts to turn.
Oh,
like when
yeah.
it was that stuff. Like I remember being in the theater being going, oh my God. And like then like
this.
the rest of the night I was raised Catholic too. So a lot of like that
religious
sort
imagery,
of religious imagery. Yep. Same deal with The Exorcist too, but like This was also like around the time of like those like quick music video game cuts, and like this has a lot of that.
Paul Anderson was always good at that.
Yes,
always been good at that.
Yes, and then I remember going home and I was flipping channels. I remember we used to flip channels, and this was back in the day when you had to check the old. There was the TV guide channel too. Like you didn't have a guide at the bottom; you just had to flip to find your channels. And I was flipping channels, and this was on late one night, and it was like at that part, and I flipped by it, and like I hit at the wrong part, and I just went, "Oh my God!" Like I just remember like being like, I'm never watching that again. Have you ever seen like the Friends episode where they put The Shining in the freezer? The book The Shining, because they're so scared.
I think so.
They're so scared they put the book in the freezer. That was me with Event Horizon for a really long time. I was like a big wuss.
Get it out of here.
I think it's all Paul Widescreen. I think it's his best movie. I might put Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I think it's his best movie. Yeah,
a close second. It's similar to In a Mouth of Madness in some ways. It's about like
both Sam Neill.
Yeah, these and like people opening doors, whether it be the creators or scientists, or opening doors something beyond the realm. It's very Lovecraftian in space. It came out the same year as Jodie Foster's Contact, which I think is funny.
Which is about the opposite.
It feels like, remember those old video game cutscenes? Like to me, it feels like that in some ways, where like it's like a well shot cutscene a lot of the time. But yeah. So my number 9 is Event Horizon.
Excellent. My number 9 changed in the last hour.
Okay.
And my new number 9 is going to be, this is tough, man, because I got a couple that I was thinking about. From Dusk Till Dawn was in 10 always, but like this, it's weird that I have a wonky one here. I'm going to go with Urban Legend. I got to do it.
Good for you. We are. This is a Jamie Blanks fan.
I like Jamie Blanks. Yeah, we're a very Jamie Blanks friendly podcast. There were a lot of these types of movies that came out after Scream, and there were some really great ones, and there were some really bad ones.
Yes.
And Urban Legend is like my favorite straight Scream-inspired slasher movie from the era. I think it's really well directed. I think the concept is so cool and so clever. I can't believe we haven't had like a new not a remake, but like a new Urban Legend, because there's got to be like
some like based on like those Reddit stories, shit like that.
Right?
Yeah.
You could do something new with that.
Yes.
It's a fun movie. It's got a good like a hip young cast. You got to have that. Jared Leto, of course, the king of hip.
It does have a fun cast.
Joshua Jackson,
Dr. Odyssey himself. Now,
indeed,
yes,
but it's also got some. It's not afraid to be self-aware in some really great ways. Brad Dourif's in this movie. Robert Englund's in this movie. It's a lot of fun. And
both those cameos are super fun too.
They're great.
Yeah.
And the killer reveal, and I don't want to say too much because I know some people have not maybe seen Urban Legend. The killer reveal is unique in its own way. Not completely unique. There's been other situations like this, but I appreciated it in this film for a certain reason.
Yeah.
It's an old movie, but you never know. So
it does a good job of taking advantage of its hook. Like it delivers on its hook, like on the Urban Legend hook. And sometimes you don't get that.
Absolutely.
In horror
and the kills are very clever.
Yeah.
They feel very Final Destination in a sense. Like they're very off the wall and kind of crazy. And
I've watched some like recent movies, but like, and like I say, I like part of the reason I watch them, like that's a neat idea. Like I like that idea, and then the movie doesn't deliver on that idea. And so like, I guess my advice to everybody is like, if you have a cool idea, make sure you find any way you can to like deliver on that premise, like in hook, and really get into it. So yes, Urban Legend. I'm with you.
Urban Legend is that for sure.
Okay, so number 8.
Yes,
I've got Dead Alive.
Nice, good pick.
We recorded a commentary for this a long time ago with your brother, actually.
Yes,
I think it was a lot of fun. It's out there somewhere.
I love that.
I've said it too many times probably, but I need Peter Jackson to go back and make a movie like this.
I think Peter Jackson needs Peter
Me
Jackson
too.
to go back and make a movie like this. Look at we've talked about it. We said this before, like probably multiple times. On the show. Look at what happened with Sam Raimi after Drag Me to Hell. He felt recharged, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's making another one. Sam Raimi's making another horror movie.
Yes.
Rachel McAdams going to be in it? I think so. Yeah.
He's apparently signed on for Doctor Strange 3.
Doctor Strange 3. I like Doctor Strange 2, and I think he single-handedly saves that movie from being utter debacle on a script level.
The script is not my favorite.
No.
The direction is phenomenal.
Yes, I think he saves that movie.
It's entirely him.
Yep. But Dead Alive, back to Dead Alive. I stared at this video box, like this VHS cover, for ages. Like
the woman with the skull coming out of her mouth.
Coming out of her mouth. I think this is one of the classic like posters and like video VHS art. I think it was another one of those movies too. Like I think I was too afraid to ask, because around the time I would have been in the video store with my parents, I had to ask them if I could rent something. And I think I was too afraid to ask them to rent this one. And it's tough because not only is it called Dead Alive, it has that video cover, and like my parents were gonna look at that and go, come on, son. Like there are certain ones, Urban Legends, I could probably sneak past them, but like Dead Alive,
it's just like pretty faces on a poster. Yeah, Dead Alive is like, yeah.
So, it's a big, just goofy blast. It's on the edge of the 90s. It's an attack on like good taste. And I love it for
really
that.
Is.
Yes. It's like a Monty Python horror movie.
It is.
It came down to this and Army, actually, for me as my horror comedy. Like
they're both goofy, fun.
I like this a little better. Army skews a little bit closer to action adventure for me. Kind of like old action adventure. Yep. This is just like a goofy horror comedy.
Yep.
I threw on and the other thing too is like, it's thin plot-wise. I don't care. It's just like silly gag after silly gag. I threw on the zombie baby attack in preparation.
It's
for
so
this.
Sweet. The playground one? Or
yes, it's legitimately like one of the, like as far as slapstick goes, I'll put this up against any slapstick scene in the history of cinema. It's so hilarious. Funny. And now that I'm a parent that has had to take his child to a playground, like it ain't that much different than real life.
No.
So I love that scene. If you haven't seen Dead Alive, it's not my favorite Peter Jackson movie because I do love the Lord of the Rings movies. I do love. But if you haven't seen this one, seek it out because I love it.
What's your favorite Lord of the Rings movie?
This is tough. They all run together. I've always been a Two Towers guy. Okay. I will say my least favorite is Return. I am someone who gets a little bit.
Yeah.
Fellowship is great too, but I'm a Two Towers
guy.
You're a Fellowship guy? Yeah. I'm a Two Towers guy. I love them all, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I'm just curious. Okay, cool. Yeah. Two Towers, that's sweet. I like
it. Has the most, for me, that's like, Two Towers is like where the Ents are really like.
That's the one that I always hear the least, which is cool.
I'm an Ent guy.
The Ents rule.
Yeah, they do.
We should all be more like the Ents.
Me too. Yeah.
All right, number 8 for me is Nightbreed from 1990. This is one that's barely a 90s movie. Like, it feels very 80s, but it counts. Nightbreed is one that came late in my. I saw Nightbreed in the span of time we've been recording this podcast for the first time.
Yes,
like, this is a weird classic that kind of like somehow went underneath my radar, I guess. And it's great. It's phenomenal. It's everything I love about monsters, and from both like a mythological standpoint and from a narrative standpoint of them being misunderstood. I love that idea. I love that concept. And from a practical effects standpoint, it's just they're beautiful and hideous and wonderful. Nightbreed rules, and it's a bummer that we haven't had more Nightbreed stuff. This could be like the horror fans' X-Men.
Yep.
And it never quite was. There was a comic book series. I think it's pretty hard to track down now.
You know what? If we walked up to Time Travelers, we might be able to find.
Have some.
I was at a Flipside earlier today too, and I didn't realize they have comics on the wall there. I could only be in Flipside for 10 minutes. I can't stand the smell.
It's too patchouli.
Yes.
Very nice people. Too patchouli.
Yeah.
They got some good soundtracks in stock right now, though.
I was walking around a little bit. I had to get my son out of the house. I like to take about. They got that big dog in there too. He loves the big dog. I almost ran into
Josie
the big dog.
Loves the big dog too.
I almost ran into the big dog with the stroller though, because I had the stroller in there.
Yeah, you know what was said? I won't get into it.
Okay.
He's not doing great.
He's a little. He's an older guy.
Anyway, but as far as like Nightbreed, there was a comic book series. Did you know they crossed over with like the other Clive Barker characters in the Nightbreed comics?
No.
So, like there is an arc of the series where they battle Rawhead Rex.
Okay.
And then there's an arc of the series where they fight the Cenobites.
Nice.
It's so sweet.
What's that detective's name? Does he show up?
He does. Yes, I think so.
I can't remember his name right now, but anyway, you know what I'm talking
about. The one from
the Scarlet Gospels.
Played by in Lord of Illusions, played by Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, Nightbreed is number 8 for me.
Nice. And Nightbreed 2, like I love movies like that where it's like the sympathetic monsters.
It's great.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like Bride of Frankenstein's one of your favorites.
Yep.
And she is very much.
And I like.
So is he.
That is like Guillermo del Toro's like his entire filmography.
That's his whole thing.
Yeah. Number 7. My number 7 has popped up a couple times. Tremors. I love this movie. I think it's my. I'm just going through here. I guess if you count one of them, it's my favorite monster movie of the 90s. Like straight up, like monster movie. And like same thing with The Faculty. I love those like 1950s monsters movie. I love the original Thing. I love them. I love It Came from Outer Space. Like there was a Roger Ebert quote from a review, and I'm blanking on the movie, but he says like Hollywood didn't stop making B movies; they just put more money into them.
Yeah.
And to me, that describes Tremors. I love the. This has a really cool cast too. Reba's in it. Kevin Bacon. Right. But yeah, that quote sums up Tremors to me. The director. He went to like movie jail. He directed remember Adventures of Pluto Nash. I was doing some reading about him.
For a long time, I don't know if it's still true. That was the biggest bomb in the history of the box office. Ever,
yeah. Period. Yes, that's right.
I don't know if it still is, but it was.
I don't know. We've had some pretty big stinkers.
Yeah.
In recent years, with more money behind them than I assume than Pluto Nash.
Yeah. Right.
I assume Pluto Nash was mostly just Eddie's contract.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But anyway, he's done some fun genre work. He's done Fear the Walking Dead, Evil, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Good.
I will say this about the movie. I love the cast. Burt used to be a bit more fun kook, like a bit more fun kook back in the 90s. Nowadays, you're like, oh, Burt, like this guy's a real problem.
Yeah, certain perspectives change.
But I do like, I still like Burt. I love the blue collar. Like I love when blue collar dudes are like the heroes in movies, and I also love that they never over explain the Tremors of this movie. They're just big worms that
happen to be there. Yeah.
They figure out like how they track you and how you can defeat them, but like we're not getting a ton of Tremors backstory.
No, I don't want that. Yeah.
And this was also a TBS staple. I don't
all the time
in between WCW wrestling and Braves baseball would be Tremors and Smokey and the Bandit.
So sick.
So that's my number 7, Tremors.
Excellent. My number 7 is In the Mouth of Madness. Another movie that I didn't see until kind of later. And I think it was because I avoided a lot of like post 80s Carpenter for a while. I'd seen Escape from LA before I had seen this. I now have a very big soft spot for Escape from LA.
Me too.
Do I think it's great? No, it's not. Do I think it's actually significantly more fun and better and a more cutting satire than it got credit for at the time of release? Yeah. I think it's actually pretty true to what it's skewering.
If you put the 2 Escape movies in front of me right now,
you'd watch LA.
I'd probably watch LA. I just think
it's a more fun movie.
I think it's more fun, and I think it does a pretty damn good job of skewering LA.
Yes. But I had not seen In the Mouth of Madness for a long time. I think availability was an issue with this movie too. For years. I mean, if I had access to a copy of it, I probably would have watched it. But I mean, if it wasn't in your local video store,
I do remember.
You weren't seeing it. So I saw this later on.
It also wasn't like there were some cable staples. Carpenter has some cable staples. Mm-hmm. Even Village of the Damned was on more
all the time.
And The Mouth of Madness.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw Vampires before I saw.
Right. In the Mouth of Madness was rarely on like cable TV.
It's not a super easy sell.
Right.
But God, it's so good. It's for me, it's like right up there with any of the stuff he did in the 80s in terms of like quality. I mean, it's certainly not going to in the Carpenter pantheon. It's not going to dethrone The Thing or Halloween or other films, but certain other films. But like, it's pretty damn good. And Sam Neill's fantastic. I love the idea of. It's very scary at this time in our history, in our country's history, but I love the idea and am terrified of the idea of a thought or a belief or a following becoming so powerful that it removes any and all humanity from the people that become a part of it. Does that make sense?
I don't even think that applies to politics these days. I think
everything.
you can
TikTok.
It's Star Wars fandom.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like online fandom.
I'm not just talking politically. I think that that's very prescient right now.
Yes.
But it's everything.
But if you want to get I think it's comic book fandom. I think it's like online stuff like that. Like once you get in a certain place where you can't be held accountable a lot of times, or you can't show your face, like you become a different person and you get swept up in that thing. You become a monster. Yeah.
Yes, and like we see that in this film with obsession and kind of like a cult following, literal cult basically. So yeah, and plus it's got cool monster effects and stuff. So
right.
Yes, In the Mouth of Madness is my number 7.
My number 6 you've talked about a little bit is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
I mean, Salma Hayek. Get out of here.
God,
get out of here. Anyway.
Cheech Marin in 3 roles.
When I think of the 90s, this is the only movie ever to have Cheech Marin and Tom Savini in it. Well, wait. Did Machete?
Machete, I think, had both. I will do the research.
Well, that's how you know you got a good movie in your head. Actually, I'm not a huge Machete guy. This is the superior. Whatever movie you're going to find that has Cheech Marin and Tom Savini in it is not as good as From Dusk Till Dawn.
No.
I just think, when I think of the 90s, there are certain filmmakers I think of, and Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez are 2 of the main ones. I would put them up there, but especially Tarantino. And this is Tarantino acting. And to be honest with you, I think he's pretty damn good in this movie. I understand why he's stepped back a lot of times. I like Tarantino as an actor and some of...
They're both in Machete.
Are they both in Machete?
Yes.
Okay. This is the superior collab then. But I like Tarantino in this movie, and I like him in some of his earlier roles.
He can be pretty good. In the right...
Yes.
Under the right circumstance, he can be pretty good.
And I love people discovering this movie too. The foot shot in this movie with Tarantino. Like that wasn't totally on purpose too. So it's kind of it's a wink joke. But anyway, it's got a great. This is a fun boutique like Comic-Con cast before that became kind of played out for me.
Yes.
It's got and you know what, Clooney is. We got Clooney in this movie.
He's very good in this.
This is only genre work outside of Killer Tomatoes.
Dude, that's it. And I don't count Killer Tomatoes. He wasn't George Clooney.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, that was like Growing Pains, George Clooney, or whatever the fuck.
We all did genre work before we were famous.
I wish
the
George Clooney. I wish the George Clooney in this movie would pop up a little bit more in some of the other boring movies I've seen him in.
Yeah,
I wish he'd go back and do a little bit.
He's great.
A little bit of horror
instead of directing boring ass movies that nobody wants to see.
I wish he'd go back and you know what? I wish he'd go back and has he worked with Tarantino since? He hasn't, has he?
No.
I wish he would.
I like to see Tarantino and Rodriguez do something else again together.
Me too. One more time.
I think Grindhouse actually is a lot of fun.
Me too. Yeah. I think it's time. But I don't know what Rodriguez has been doing.
Yeah. He did Tarantino's retiring.
He always says he's retiring. Anyway, so I with you though that like this feels like a Tarantino movie, where you get kind of hooked by the Gecko brothers and the kind of the crime aspect of it, and then it takes that turn. And I do love movies that do that, especially when the first half is as good as this one is.
It's really strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do love the idea too of these. In movies, I don't need quote-unquote likable characters or good guys and bad guys. What I think is interesting about this movie is they are not good guys. They are immoral in a lot of ways, but then they're presented with something that is just a like pure evil, like pure like base evil, and like then you get invested in them a little bit more, and like you realize there are kind of shades of good and bad in the world, and that people do need stories to like of like great evil and greater good too.
I like bad guys fighting badder guys.
Yeah,
I don't like movies that are just focused on bad guys and that's it.
Right.
I do like movies that are bad guys with badder guys. Yes.
Bad guys and badder guys.
Yeah.
Right.
I want a villain, even if the hero is kind of a villain. Like that. That's what I want. Yeah.
And that's what the vampires are in this. So I think that's all I have to say about it. But man, From Dusk Till Dawn is just a blast, start to finish.
It's one of a kind too.
It is
nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Yes. Number 6 for me is Event Horizon.
Nice.
Right there with In the Mouth of Madness. Event Horizon is, you already talked about it a little bit. Like it is certainly widescreen's best film.
Are you Mortal Kombat 2? Are you Mortal Kombat number 2 for him?
No. Mortal Kombat is one of those movies I can't really judge.
Okay.
Because it came into my life at such an important spot in that perfect. In terms of a film, I think the first Resident Evil is a better film than Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha.
Probably. That's still debatable.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat's my favorite movie of his because
of the connection.
It's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Like it was so perfect in the moment I saw it as a kid. But Event Horizon is his best film for sure. It is eerie. I love horror in space. I should say that. Like I'm a sucker for horror in space. It's eerie. It's haunting. It's got really, really strong performances from everybody throughout the cast, especially Fishburne, who is so underrated as an actor.
Yes.
He's so damn good. Mm-hmm. And he plays, like, Fishburne can do anything. Like, yeah, he's had some duds for sure, no question. Like, most actors who've been around as long as Fishburne, but, like, man, Fishburne is so versatile as an actor. Like, he can play authority figures. He can play, like, the everyman. He can do all of it. Like, he's just so good. And the juxtaposition of him and Sam Neill's characters and what they do with the performances is so strong, and it carries the whole movie. You watch Sam Neill's character, who, in this setting, in this outer space setting where we're surrounded by technology and science and big brains, right?
Yeah.
You expect that Sam Neill's character is the one that would like flourish, whereas Fishburne's character is a little bit more of an everyman. He feels a little bit more like a regular Joe, and you expect his character would not handle this whole setting and scenario well. And you watch these two guys like go the opposite like directions as what you're expecting. Like it's those two characters buoy the movie for me, amongst plenty of other things. It's a cool, creepy, nasty space horror movie, and I'm a sucker for them. So yeah, it's my number 6 for sure.
Very nice. Yeah. My number 5 is another repeat, In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
You kind of mentioned it. I think this is Carpenter's last great movie. I think Escape from LA came after this. I think it's fun,
yeah.
But it's not a great movie.
Vampires is fun.
Fun. James Woods is very fun in it, but not a great movie. And then after that, Ghost of Mars, I can't remember. Ghost of Mars is one of those ones that like we talk about. We revisit and we're like hoping to like it because I've seen some people like kind of turn around and I don't like it either. And the word is awful.
Cigarette Burns is
Cigarettes
really
is good. Yeah. But I think this is his last great movie.
Film. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, it got lost in the shuffle for a while. It's seen a reevaluation lately, which I think is good. This is when I first watched it, I came later to it, and his 90s work had gotten crapped on a lot by the time I had watched it, and like it kind of shocked me how like I'm like, this is damn good. Like it's a quote unquote, and I hate to use this term, but I think it applies here. It's an adult horror movie in a lot of ways. It is dealing it's big goofy monster stuff, but it is dealing with it in an adult way.
There's a more psychological approach to it. It's not it's
unsettling.
There's no titillation.
Right.
I guess if you're into certain things.
That is a good point.
Tentacles.
Yeah.
But there's no titillation.
No kink shaming here.
No, of course not. There's no blood and guts for blood and guts sake.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things that are kind of geared towards a younger horror audience are not present here.
Yes, and you're right. It is it's predominantly adults in the cast too. It's not teen horror. He's got his like there's the end. It's the End of the World trilogy too with him. It's The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and this.
Those are his 3. I mean that's like
this is my least favorite of those three, but if this is the worst of the three, like, man, what a trilogy.
Unreal.
And it's hopeless Carpenter, too. Like, he's back in full force here. Mm-hmm. And it is, like you said, it is like... It's almost like it doesn't make a ton of sense. The movie doesn't make a ton of sense. I always feel like it's his riff on Italian horror as well, because like the plot of it is it
feels very like the way it's shot too feels very Italian horror.
Yeah, and so it is that as well. But it is. I imagine John at this point in his life, like, because it's about a sane person in a world gone mad, and I can see John Carpenter feeling that way.
Yeah.
At certain points of his life. Nowadays, I think he's numbed a lot of that with basketball, video games, and weed. I like, people are like, oh, John Carpenter's probably so mad today. He's probably mad, but he's probably also stoned watching basketball.
It's awesome.
Like, he's like,
the older I get, the more I appreciate who John Carpenter is.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I told you guys, I'm just going to sit here and play my video games. You can buy my VHS tapes from my garage.
Sweet.
Yes. Awesome. So, In the Mouth of Madness is my number 5. Like I said, last great Carpenter movie, and just a great movie. And honestly, I think it will be the last time Carpenter shows up on any of my list, at least, unless you're a big fan of The Ward.
Well, I've never seen it.
I'm thinking of the 2000s. Don't see it. I'm just going to tell you that. Like, I know you're a completist.
I've held off this long. I can hold off forever.
I think you can go to
I think I could die without seeing The Ward.
I don't think he's direct. I will go to my grave thinking he did not direct that film.
I know that, and I love that. Like I kind of want to watch it and like just to see if I agree. Almost. Anyway, okay, so number 5. We are halfway through.
Yes.
My goodness. This one surprised me. In all honesty, because it's not a film I rewatch often. It's not a film that I hold in some sort of insanely high regard, but it's a film that had such an impact on me when I saw it that it had to have a place on this list. Not even its cultural impact, which was huge, but like for me personally, I will never forget watching this movie on VHS and like being kind of messed up from it for the next, I don't know, like I still, when I rewatch it, I still get kind of like that weird like throwback of that feeling I had when I first watched it. It's Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
It is not I won't even say it's a better film than like my bottom half of my list. I'm not going to say that, but like for me, it was so damn scary and so different and felt so real and raw, and it's tough to look back on it now through the lens of somebody who's now lived through the found footage peaks and valleys and but when this thing came out, it was like completely different. There was nothing like it. And like some of us believed it was real.
Yeah.
I remember questioning whether or not it was real. Like, wait, is this like but that if nothing else, and I actually think it's a pretty solid movie, honestly. There's an arc for
I still like this movie a lot. We watched this recently.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well,
not too long back.
I watched it recently to, I can't remember the reason it was too, but on my own. I can't remember. Actually, no, it's been a few years now because the one remake came out too. Sorry. Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the more recent
2019 version. Yeah. I watched it around that time.
Yeah. But it's
God, it's been a while. Maybe I should throw this bad boy on again.
Me too, yeah. Now that I'm like thinking about it. That ending shot is so means nothing. Like there's no context really for what's going on. Well, there's a little bit, but like it's so scary. It's scary. It takes the idea that you don't show the shark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it so extreme, and it expounds on that so much, but somehow it makes that work. Like you never once see anything that actually indicates what's going on, or it's horrifying.
It's also that like it's like that independent movie phenomena that I love watching. We're about to see it as we're recording this. Terrifier 3 is about to come out, and even if like
yes, very different from Blair Witch, but
very different, but there are some similarities where it's like from the ground up, and like it's about to it's about to make more money than the Joker at the box office this weekend, which
How
is
insane is that?
Crazy from where it came from.
That?
And I think it's awesome. Like, even if I'm not crazy about the movie, or like I do love 2, but like even if I see 3,
it
I'm
could
like,
suck. Yeah,
it could suck. But like same thing, like with the Blair Witch.
I'm proud of the people involved.
Like, it's such a cool. Like, it is kind of. It's not like the American dream, but it is kind of like.
It feels like a middle finger though, a little bit.
It does
right?
a little
like,
bit,
yeah, in a good way. like a heavy metal middle finger.
It is, yeah. And the Blair Witch is like the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially at some of the time it came out, because we were getting, it was 99, so we're at the end of that, like, let's just rip off Scream. And I love a lot of those movies, but like it is kind of like a middle finger, like, okay, like we're going to do this with no WB cast. We're going to do this with nobody's. And we're going to
handheld cameras in the woods.
Yes. and we're going to, and we're just going to, take over. So I love that about
cool. it. So yeah, Blair Witch is my number 5.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I do think it gets, I don't want to say lost in the shuffle because there were so many found footage movies.
But they came way after, though.
That's what's weird about it. Yeah,
it's an interesting beast, because like usually Hollywood capitalizes off of something that like is successful, right? And Blair Witch was like,
but even the sequel, they didn't even they just went a completely different direction with it.
Well, yeah, which I know you love, but
I love in a different
special way. How was the sequel, like the new one?
I like it, but it is it's like a Tubi watch. If you get my drift, like it's like
shit. Okay,
it's like
fine.
It's fine. I like it, but
yeah,
I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it.
Do they show the monster? Spoiler alert.
I don't believe so.
Okay, good.
That's good. I don't believe so. All right. It's been a while. It's been since it came out.
Yeah.
Number 4. My number 4 is Cemetery Man, Del Norte de la Mora.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Okay. So Joe Bob showed this recently, and I was watching it, and my wife was down there with me, and it wasn't hitting me on like the level that it hit me. Like when I first watched this, it was a long time ago, but the movie is like it's this poetic, like kind of like gothy, like goth kid, like romance movie in a way.
Yeah.
And when I was in my teens and 20s when I watched it, like that hits different than you are in my age, in my 40s, as I'm married with a kid. And no age is better or worse. I'm not like saying anything like that.
Different.
It hits different, and it made me like at first I was like, man, do I still like this movie? Do I still love it as much as I did? It almost made me love it even more. Oh. Does that make sense?
Because well, so I think what it is it becomes there's a wistfulness to it.
Yeah.
There's I want to say nostalgia. It's not nostalgia. There's a wistfulness to it. There's like a kind of I remember that feeling. I remember being that.
It wasn't a sadness too. When I like I wasn't like
it's a
sad.
Fondness.
It was like
Like I remember that the feeling of being that kind of like hopeless romantic or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a time in my life, and I'm at a different time in my life.
When I watched John Hughes movies.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a huge John Hughes fan. Most of his movies are sappy teenager movies. But when I watch them, I go, I remember feeling like that. Like I remember like when I watched these movies for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, I relate to this character. I don't now.
Yeah.
I think they're all kind of doofuses, but like I still have a certain.
You grow up and you change and you.
But you still appreciate what you used to be or what you used to feel. Yeah.
And that was the feeling I had when I watched Cemetery Man.
Yeah.
And there isn't as I look back at some of my tastes, like I do have an inner goth kid that I think sometimes comes up and surprises me. Sometimes
I would love to see you as a goth.
The thing is, I've never like dressed as a goth.
You should be a goth for Halloween this year.
I should like a South Park goth or
be
like
your inner self. Yeah,
but but there's like a line in this movie: "The living dead and the dying living are the same thing." And like that is such a goth kid line. Like,
awesome.
Give me a break. But it's also like there are certain things like it's about the malaise of life and just kind of like you hit a certain point and you're just kind of doing your job and like it is in like. It is weird that it hit me less now that but it just didn't. It like maybe it's a certain acceptance with things and just being in a different spot in your life. I already covered that, but it's also kind of the bookend of an era of Italian horror as well. Like this comes at like the masters of Italian horror are winding down or should be winding down or like I think creatively have lost a lot of juice at this point, but this feels to me like the end of an era for a lot of Italian horror, and also This is the one I was talking about with the second bombshell. Anna Falchi, get out of here. Get out of here. She plays 3 roles in this movie. She should play 3 roles in every movie.
Oh, my.
Rupert Everett, too. Fantastic. I like Rupert Everett. So.
True stud.
Yeah. So that's our number 4. Cemetery Man. Del Norte Del Amor.
My number 4 is Halloween H2O. Yeah, so like...
Very nice.
Like, H2O is like, oh, man. It was like the ultimate, and is the ultimate encapsulation of everything the slasher genre has been up to this point. It's a sequel, direct sequel, to a film that is like the slasher film.
Yeah.
Or the prototype for the slasher film. I know that there were ones that came before it technically, but Halloween was the thing that inspired Friday the 13th, which inspired all these other movies. So Halloween for me is like that. It is the early slasher movie. And one of my favorite films. But it takes Halloween, Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, the whole thing, and it makes it contemporary for 98. And it capitalizes on everything that Scream was able to... It's this weird meta thing, too, because, like, Scream is very obviously, like, it's taking everything that was done through the 80s. It says as much, right? Like, they're watching Halloween
right
at the house as the events are unfolding in the film. And then we have a Halloween sequel that's essentially inspired by Scream. It's so weird. It's like the snake eating its own tail or something. But, like, I will never forget the feeling of watching this movie and going, oh my God, Michael Myers is legitimately back. I had seen the sequels at this point. Like, most of them, I don't know if I'd seen everything. Like, I think I'd seen, like, 2 for sure. Maybe 4 and 5. I don't know if I had seen Resurrection before I saw this.
Well, Resurrection... Oh, so you saw it after Resurrection.
Or not no. I hadn't seen 6. Curse.
Yep.
Curse. Curse. I don't think I'd seen that at this point. But just like that end scene is just like the movie itself is solid. Nice, like, kind of return to form. Like, we get a little bit creepier in Michael Myers, where it's a little bit less, like, showy.
Yeah,
and he's not doing Jason kills, right? Like, he's not, like, chopping people in half, or, like, it's a little bit more in line with what the first movie was doing. But that ending is just, it's
awesome. Yeah.
It is so good.
It's part of the reason, yeah.
It's the reason why
I hate Resurrection.
Whatever, yes. I don't just hate it. It doesn't exist to me. Like, that's not canon.
Yeah, hate's a strong word. Yeah.
It's also the reason why, like, that ending single-handedly is, like, the reason why David Gordon Green's movies could never live up. I like David Gordon Green's movies. I do, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But for me, and it will never change, because that damn ending of H2O is so perfect.
Yeah.
The definitive Halloween, and there's so many versions of the timeline.
Yeah.
We love the timeline.
We do love the timeline.
The multiverse.
Yeah.
The definitive is 1, 2, H2O. Always. It will never change. I'm not saying that better things weren't accomplished in other versions of the Halloween franchise, including even zombies. Like, he's done some really great stuff. But that is, like, man, if you want, like, the perfect trio of stories, that's it for me. Like,
so I'm thinking of Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'll throw Hellraiser in there, Texas Chainsaw Massacre as, like, the ones I'm thinking of those big franchises.
Sure.
Would you say Halloween is the quote unquote best of those franchises?
Not favorite, but just best. Like, quality wise?
Yeah. I think I might, because I'm going through some of those. Freddy.
Yeah, it's probably Halloween. There's a prestige to the title in the franchise that comes, like, that doesn't come with Friday or Nightmare or man, that's tough.
I think that's the other bummer I have about Resurrection is I think that's, like, that is the low point of that franchise, and it's the only one that gets as bad as like for me as like Freddy's Dead.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because even the zombie movies, like I'm not a fan.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but
like those are well-made movies for what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
I just don't like what they're trying to accomplish, so it's personal taste. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think you're right.
I'm just curious. Yeah, that popped in my head. So.
Yeah, even 2 is pretty good. Halloween 2, like
the
original Halloween 2. Yeah, not H2.
And H2, I'm with you. I like H2 a lot. So, and I think we agreed, like H2O. Part of the reason I don't think you and I are as high on that first David Gordon Green, that is it 2018 Halloween, is because we think H2O did a lot of it better.
The interpretation of an older Laurie who's dealing with
the
events.
Yeah,
it's the same idea. Like I think that bump. In fairness to David Gordon Green, what he did, like his vision or whatever, like that movie was always going to be at a disadvantage for me because I do hold H2O in like a pretty high regard in terms of what it does with Laurie and Michael and the whole relationship. I think too many people like think about resurrection when they think of H2O, which I get.
Yeah,
ignore it. It doesn't have to exist. Like. You can do whatever you want. Like it doesn't like.
And I do want to say with Laurie, I do actually love where she ends up at the end of Ends.
It's
yes,
it's great.
I
no,
do.
Actually,
by the end of his trilogy, I love where she's at.
It's great.
Yeah.
It just man, I just really like.
Oh, and we talked about it. It's Adam Arkin in this one, right? One of the horniest characters, and
yes, him and what's his name from Hellraiser? Frank.
Oh well, yes, yeah. Well,
yes.
They should. You know, and I bet those two have a good time.
Buddy cop film.
And you know what? If they don't get anybody else, I bet
Bangkok
they
or something. Right? That's where you go, right?
Well, Night in Bangkok. All right, a good song. Number 3 for me, Tales from the Hood. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm thinking back on anthology movies, and start to finish, this might be my favorite. Yeah, this might be my favorite. Okay. My personal favorite. As a young boy, young lad, been around. I would have been around 11 or 12 in beautiful northern Michigan, Gaylord to be exact.
Gorgeous part of the world.
A lot of white people.
That.
A lot of yes, it is very God's country in a lot of ways up there. Beautiful, but also not a very diverse. A lot of white people up there. I grew up in not very diverse. Yes, although a little more diverse than it was when I was growing up.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But there's something about me. And this is a '90s kid thing in general. I was obsessed with gangster rap. I was obsessed with like hood movies too. I loved like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Above the Rim, Dead Presidents, Friday, Juice.
Can Jump.
Yes, I loved, and I think it's because it was like such a different world than what I was growing up in. This is the horror equivalent of that. It is in a lot of ways very relevant, unfortunately. But the thing is, it's not a depressing watch. It's a wicked funny movie. Like it's a wickedly funny movie. It's like there's a meanness to it, but it's also it's that funny that you kind of feel bad about laughing about it at certain points because like this deals with some heavy stuff, not just the obvious with like racism, but it's dealing with like child abuse, corrupt cops, but it's also it's dealing with all that stuff, but it never managed to lose like that. Like you're watching it, like there's an audaciousness to it, I think, and it never loses sight of its main goals. Like it's got that good balance where it doesn't feel like a lecture in a sense, but it's very clear in what it's trying to say. Yeah. But it doesn't lose fact of the sight that it's a horror anthology first and foremost. And I think it's important that it does come from black filmmakers as well. Mm-hmm. And I think this is an issue with some of Wes Craven's work in the 90s for me, where he does like in People Under the Stairs, which I do like a lot.
He's trying to be the voice for
yes.
a group of people that he maybe shouldn't be the voice for.
And I think it comes from a good place, but I think it's
misguided.
I think in some ways it's misguided, and I think it means more for me coming from
actual
people who have lived this.
Black filmmakers.
Yeah. Yes. I don't have a favorite segment. I think most of them are good. I do think that last segment is really like scary.
Which was the last one?
The last segment is one with the gangbangers. That one's the one that gets the scariest for me. Yeah. it's weird to say you even have a favorite segment with some of the stuff. Like
no, but
it is. Yeah. I think there are some terrific special effects, especially in the KKK segment with the little dolls and stuff. I think there are some awesome special effects. Yep. And yeah, I'm gonna put Tales from the Hood. Yes, it's a very quotable movie too, as Joe and I can tell you, it's a very quotable movie as well. So Tales from the Hood is my number 3.
Nice. My number 3 is The Faculty. Not as heavy as Tales from the Hood, but no. The Faculty is it's Body Snatchers for the WB generation. And Tim, you kind of described what the WB era or generation was. And it's going to be increasingly tough, I think, to put into context what that channel and what that era of television and then film meant to the people growing up during that time.
Yes.
It's weird to say that now because a lot of us kind of poo-pooed a lot of that stuff, I think, at the time. Like, I'm not going to watch Dawson's Creek. But that, it really...
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
The biggest franchise still in the world and the biggest cultural thing is still the Marvel Universe. So much of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can be tied back to those teen shows because it's Joss Whedon helped birth that whole universe in a lot of ways with the Avengers and all of it. And I know Buffy was WB too, but a lot of that can be tied back to that and that serialized style of storytelling, which has been around for a long time, but
it increased in popularity again. There was a resurgence in that during the WB kind of height of that. Yeah, it was an important time, and there's another movie at the top of my list. I won't say the name yet because
I think our number 2 is more interesting.
Everybody listening knows what it is, but
we might have the same number 2s, but
I don't think we do.
Okay.
If we do, I'm giving you a hug on air.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do then.
But I'll give you a hug anyway, off air. You'll get an on-air hug if we do it the same one. But The Faculty for me is even more so than my number 1, the epitome of what that era of filmmaking, specifically genre filmmaking, means to me and how important it was to not just me at the time and being able to access things I was passionate about with horror, but inspiring me to seek out things that inspired it. And so that, for me, growing up in the 90s, I was bound to miss out on certain things in certain films from the 80s, 70s. These movies from the 90s, all these teen horror movies, were all inspired by things that came before them, and that's okay. But it opened my mind and my avenues to different things. And so The Faculty for me is so important to my upbringing in terms of horror and in terms of just going through life as a preteen. Because Josh Hartnett's hair is just.
You have two. Was that back-to-back Hartnetts? Yeah.
I mean,
or as Joe calls him, Josh Hairnet.
It's beautiful. The Hairnet, yeah, he's beautiful. But yeah, I think.
Your favorite song from this? That was the. There were some songs on that soundtrack, right?
Kids Aren't Alright is the best.
Yeah. Oh, is that the Offspring song? Yeah. Because there was a remake of Another Brick in the Wall on that soundtrack.
Yeah, not bad, but Kids Aren't Alright is where it's at.
Yes,
it's an original, and it fits insanely
movie.
Perfectly.
Yeah,
it's nuts. It's a great album too. Anyway, so yeah, The Faculty is.
What's your favorite soundtrack from a '90s horror movie? Can you think of it?
From a '90s horror movie.
So Scream 3 was 2000.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
That's been disqualified.
That would be an easy win. It might be The Faculty, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be. Because Flagpole is on
Oh, that's on the disturbing behavior. So the thing is...
Oh, that's disturbing behavior.
That's disturbing behavior. But the thing with...
Another great movie.
Disturbing... Oh, wait, is Flagpole Sitta... Wait a minute. Because Got You Where I Want You is on disturbing behavior. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up.
I think both are on disturbing behavior.
Flagpole Sitta is one of the greatest songs.
Is that... Oh, that is disturbing behavior. Oh, my God. Is disturbing behavior the best of this era?
Disturbing...
What year that came out in 2000, though, right?
Behavior soundtrack.
Let's hold on a second.
Do you agree with me, though, that Flagpole Sitta is one of the greatest songs of all time?
It's insane.
So Disturbing Behavior was 98.
That was... Oh, my God.
And it has...
The same year as The Faculty.
I'm trying to get... All right, so it does not have... It does have Got You Where I Want You, but it does not have Flagpole Sitta.
Wait, hold on.
It's weird when I pronounce the R in Flagpole Sitta soundtrack.
What movie has Got You Where I Want You, then?
Got You Where I Want You is the one I just... Disturbing Behavior.
But Flagpole Sitta is disturbing behavior, right?
It is disturbing behavior.
They're both on the same one?
It's not on the... Okay, so excuse me. Here's what
It's not on the album.
It's not on the album.
It's in the movie.
It is in the movie.
Yeah,
it's in the TV spots.
Too. Yes.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay, we have figured that out.
So disturbing behavior has the best.
Technically has the best.
I'm sorry, it does. Yeah.
Maybe Scream. All right.
Maybe Scream.
Yes. But then The Faculty's got a good one, too. All right, my number two is Candyman.
We are not the same.
I think, first of all...
No hug for you.
The score to this movie is one of the best scores of all time. It's a gorgeous movie. What I mentioned with...
what's the name? Glass.
Philip Glass.
Philip Glass.
Yes, beautiful movie. What I mentioned with Tales from the Hood about Wes Craven and the kind of white savior complex, I actually think this movie does an excellent job of critiquing, because she goes thinking, like, in a lot of ways, she is the white savior, and she ends up fucking everything up.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, she brings the problems to this neighborhood. And I think that's really clever. And I think Tony Todd is underrated as an actor, period. And I think he's still underrated in this movie.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the all-time great horror performances. I think he brings a level of smoothness to the role, for lack of a better term, but I also think he brings a level of pathos, a level of heart too. Like,
he's just so good.
You can see the sadness in him.
Yes. Yes.
There. It also takes on urban legends. It's a gorgeous looking. I think this might be my favorite, and it's different than the Barker story, but I think it might be my favorite Barker adaptation for a lot of the reasons, because it provides a little bit of a twist on it too. Also, for the Gorehounds, there is some decent gore in it as well. I think this movie holds up phenomenally well. I was iffy on the remake, and part of the problem with the remake is I don't know, for me personally, I don't know if you can improve upon this movie, because I kind of think it's, if it wasn't for my number one movie, I can't imagine a movie being better than this one for me in the 1990s, and it's so much of the time too. Yeah, it is, because it does stem out of that early 90s, kind of the racial tensions and everything with the LA riots, and like we mentioned with a lot of those hood movies, it's similar in that way too. So yeah, I've got Candyman number 2.
It's a miracle Candyman got made, right?
It's weird. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I have a pretty decent amount of early 90s representation on my list, and the thing is, I don't think it's pre-Scream. There are some really good movies, but I just there's a lot of crap in the early 90s too, and it kind of makes these movies stand out as well. So
yep, the cream rises to the top.
Sorry, what is your number 2? Now I'm curious.
7.
Okay.
So I can see how some would not count this as a horror film.
I count it as a horror movie.
It is one of the scariest effing movies I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, it is terrifying.
I came too late to 7. I watched it, I think, too late.
It feels scary because, like, it's a thrilling film. Like, it beginning to end. Like the investigation, the concept behind the serial killer who's doing like these 7 deadly sins thing. It's very scary, but like it gets scarier because as I get older and I start to like process some of the people I meet and some of the I'm serious, and some of the like news headlines I see, I go, this could like happen.
Yeah.
Like, and it would be the weird person that you just didn't like expect to do it. That 7 is freaky as hell.
People are crazy, right?
Yeah. And they live amongst us, my friend. I promise you, I'm not crazy.
Yes. So. I mean, as long as far as my promises will go, yes, I'm not crazy.
You're good. Yeah. You don't. We don't have enough energy to pull something off.
No, I can't do this. You pull off a scheme like this.
Terrible. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't do it. But no, seriously, it's Fincher is an unreal director. Just like absolute master of atmosphere. And this is Brad Pitt's best performance like ever. For me.
I'm trying to think of one I like better, and
it might be Morgan Freeman's best performance ever for me.
I might go along with that too.
I know a lot of folks will argue that Shawshank is Morgan's.
Are you a Shawshank guy?
I like Shawshank.
Me too. I'm a like.
But Morgan Freeman and everybody else involved's performance in Shawshank is schmaltzy. It is not in this. No. It is real. This is not.
What's the Pitt movie that the only one I would might throw that in? Sorry. This is
no. Please do.
Is I did like him in that last Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He's great.
I like it. He's good. Speaking of Fincher, like he's good in Fight Club, but I think he's better. I'm with you.
He's better than this. Yeah. It's just. 7 is not in my top 10 movies of all time or horror films of all time. It's not. But when I think of perfect films, 7 is a perfect film. There's nothing wrong with 7. It's exactly what it is, a perfect film. I can't find a single flaw in the movie that I can possibly think of. And for me, it's enough to make it the number 2.
So I want to say, in my defense,
my number 1 is a perfect film too, but
because I left 7 off and I left Silence of the Lambs off.
Tough ones, yeah.
These are tough. And so, like I said it when you said 7. Like I watched it way after it had been released. I did not watch it when I was younger. And I think it didn't lose some of its effectiveness. It's a very good movie, but it is like a movie I watched a little bit from a distance. You know what I mean? It's a movie that I'd heard about being great, and then I watched it.
Before you saw it, yeah.
And then Silence is another movie I left off my list. And that is one of those movies where, like, when it came out, I was of age, like, that I knew, like, it existed. And when I watched it, but, like, that was, like, we're getting into an era of, like, when I was coming of age as, like... like as a human and as a enjoyer of music and
your
movies.
Approach to these movies was different than maybe somebody now watching it for the first time. And
so many of the movies on this list I have a personal connection to and a fondness for. Where I don't like Silence of the Lambs, I just don't have that. Like, I think it's a fantastic,
it's a great
movie.
film.
Yeah, but like as I'm going through, I'm like, is it my favorite now? But all right. So do you want to go 1, 2, 3 on our number 1 movie?
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Scream.
Yeah,
Scream is perfect.
I was gonna make a joke and I didn't even want to.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna come up with I was gonna say I don't know, like American Werewolf in Paris. But that would have been too long to go for the joke. I was gonna name a different movie. Is what it was.
I gotcha. Valentine is a 2000s. That would have been good. Scream.
I still know what you did last summer.
Yeah, let's go. Scream is a perfect movie. We've talked about Scream ad nauseum. I'm not going to say a lot here. I'd love to because it's my number 1. Scream is the epitome of great horror. It's the epitome of great 90s horror. It's the epitome of the 90s. It's everything. It is all of those things in one beautiful package. I saw Scream for the first time in the theater last week, and it was... No, this week.
Oh, did you go see it? Yeah.
Oh, my God. And it was incredible. It was
awesome.
Incredible. Like, it was like... I noticed things in the movie, for real. Like I noticed things in the movie I never noticed before, and I heard things, audio cues I'd never heard before.
Yeah,
it was so cool. It wasn't like seeing it for the first time because nothing will beat the first time, but but it was pretty darn close. It is as good as any horror film can get. I love Scream. I adore it. It's funny. It's scary. It's dangerous. It's sexy. It's all those things that you want from horror, really, but 90s horror in particular.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's a perfect movie. There's nothing wrong with Scream. I wouldn't change a frame.
This is one of those movies that like I can't even like at this point it's such a part of like my tastes and my love of movies. I can't like what do you want me to say about it?
It's
I
like
don't have
the emails
anything.
we got.
Yeah, I do want to say I sometimes I think Nev is really good in this movie.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't know if I give her because I always because I'm a male I do tend to focus on the male characters, but I do love her. I've been watching Charmed recently, and it makes her like I really like Rose McGowan around this time. Not that I don't like her now, but I think she's terrific in this movie too. So I want to give a shout out to the ladies is what I'm trying to say. But
she's so damn good.
Yes, no, she is. I really love Tatum in the movie. Yeah, she's one of my favorite side characters. I tend to gravitate towards that kind of character anyway because I always liked Charisma Carpenter on Buffy as well. And they're kind of similar characters where they are kind of the ditzy but kind of smart ass.
Yeah.
Yep. But I don't know. Like it's Scream. Like I think it's
a masterpiece.
It's beyond like me judging it or even saying anything. Well, I've said all I need to say about it. Go listen to our Scream, our Summer of Scream.
It's one of my favorite series we've ever done.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
I think we crushed that. Like,
yes,
I'm not overly full of myself or like overly confident in our abilities to do something, but like that is one of my proudest podcasting.
Yes. So search for Summer of Scream on your podcast feed if you haven't. And honestly, look for our Screams 5 and 6 reviews too, because I think those are very good too.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it. It's my favorite movie of the 90s. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's one of the goats.
Yeah, it is one of the goats. Do you want to do? Let's do our honorable mentions and get out of here then.
Sure, let's knock it out. So, my honorable mentions. Give me yours first, actually.
All right, so I
had
out
of the damn tab on my phone.
Death by Temptation, which stars Kadeem Hardison and Sam Jackson, I believe. This is one of those movies I came to later and I really, really loved.
Star of a Different World?
Yes. I also had Misery on mine. I had Gremlins 2 on mine, but Gremlins 2 is like just a straight up comedy to me, and I think it's phenomenal. But it wasn't like one of my favorite horror movies. I also had Nightbreed, Silence of the Lambs, Army of Darkness. I had on mine. Kronos, the Guillermo del Toro movie I had on mine. Phantasm 3 is actually I think my favorite. Like it's my favorite Phantasm sequel. I think it's the most rewatchable. Phantasm.
It's very Dream Warriors, but with,
yes. Wes Craven's New Nightmare I had on there. Yep. Castle Freak.
Castle Freak?
I had Castle.
I love it. That sleazy sex scene in Castle Freak is the best.
I also had 7. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Okay. The Craft.
Good movie. Yep.
The Frighteners, another Peter Jackson movie. Breakdown with Kurt Russell.
I like Breakdown.
It is very good.
Sweet.
Yes, I couldn't put that on there because I didn't think it was straight horror.
Kind of a thriller more so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not horror necessarily, but yeah.
Bride of Chucky, Urban Legend, Blair Witch, Deep Blue Sea, House on Haunted Hill, the remake. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. That's 99?
Yes.
Wow.
Lake Placid and Sleepy Hollow are my honorable mentions.
My honorable mentions would be Misery, Exorcist 3, Silence of the Lambs, Candyman, Scream 2, and Blade. I mixed some things up there, so yeah, Blade would be my honorable. Nice. Awesome. So next time around, we're doing
so I was going to ask you,
doing that?
So I wanted to ask you on air.
All right.
Because it's going to be our Halloween episode, basically, next time.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right.
Do you want to do like a Halloween? Trevor?
My father requested
Trevor's. I was thinking I was going to run this by you. We can do 2000s. I kind of want to do the Monster Squad for Halloween.
We haven't covered that?
We have not covered that.
Yes, 100%.
And we definitely haven't done a full. Okay, I want to take a pause, if you're okay with it, from our lists.
So hold on. So not only will I say we'll do the Monster Squad, I'm going to watch the Monster Squad with Josie.
Oh,
she's
cool.
Big into monsters right now, and I think there's a couple swear words in there that are kind of gnarly, but we'll navigate.
You got to deal with that.
We'll navigate that.
Yes.
But maybe if we can make it work, we'll have Josie come in on the Tiny Terror
Yeah, if you're cool with it.
Talk about Monster Squad.
If you are cool with it, yeah.
She'll say anything. Who knows? It could be insane.
I will have Wyatt watch it with me. And then he'll just the whole time
record on your phone what he says.
Yeah, well, most of the time he'll be in the kitchen trying to open drawers and shit.
But we'll try this out.
Yeah. If you're cool with it,
It'll be fun.
This will be a lot of fun.
Like and then we'll see about resuming. Yeah.
I think we should resume it after we do Monster Squad.
I love that. It's a nice Halloween celebration. Classic Universal Monsters. One of my favorite horror films of all time. Period. Yeah. Love this movie. I'm pumped about this.
Do you own it?
I do.
I think there's a Blu out of it, isn't there? I'm sure there is.
I don't know. I have a DVD, but it's got all the bonus
stuff. It's on Pluto. It's all over the place. Yeah, I checked it.
I have a bonus thing, so
because I went, oh shit, it's gonna be Halloween next time.
If you want to watch those, I can give you the second disc because it's got like some really cool like reunion stuff and things.
Oh,
like
cool.
That. It's worth watching. It's a really good set. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll see each other.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, that's what we're going to do next time. Then we're going to jump back into the 2000s, I think.
I'm excited now. Hell yeah. Halloween, Monster Squad, perfect. Yeah, great.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for listening.